So I see that you are uber high on Chase Young. Tell us how you see Chase Young as compared to some of the other top guys who've been drafted, defensive linemen and ends like Myles Garrett a couple years ago, Jadeveon Clowney several years back. How good is Chase compared to some of those guys?
Well, he's let's take it one. He's better than Clowney. Clowney had a spotted career where he was injured and wasn't consistent as far as when he did play. This guy's more consistent, and he's played more games. And all these guys play at a high level. He's more consistent than Myles Garrett coming out. He's a better athlete than Mario Williams, meaning he'll make more plays as an athlete. And then you go back to Julius Peppers, who was taken second. He's a more instinctive player and farther along than Julius Peppers was at that point.
Wow.
Now, I don't compare him to Bosa because Bosa only played a few games. So I'm just comparing college careers. All right, so, I mean, that's how you scout. You take a guy and you start comparing to people, and at the end of it, you go, oh, wow. So, I mean, that's the way I look at the guy. So,
Charley, are the Dolphins going to be able to stand pat at number 5 and have Tua fall into their laps, or are they going to have to move up to Detroit's 3 pick? What's going to go on there with Tua, especially if he shows well throwing the ball in the next few weeks?
Well, it's all speculation, of course, but if I'm Miami, I'm not comfortable sitting at 3 if I want Tua. Carolina is really one of the keys there. I mean, what are they going to do? Even if you got Cam Newton, I mean, how long is Cam going to play? And you have no idea what he's going to be like. The Cam Newton last year is not a winning Cam Newton. Cam Newton's record when he runs the ball less than 8 times a game is under 50%. Okay? So, and his passing percentage is not very good in that situation. I've never seen the stats. So, Cam's got to be a runner to make himself effective as a quarterback. He wasn't last year. So, to me, and Marty Herney's been a guy, and I don't know whether Marty will have the final say or not. Marty's a gambler a little bit, see? So if I'm Carolina, unless I will take Herbert, okay, I want I'm going to take a shot at Tua because you got the Chargers sitting there. Right. So and they need a quarterback. Now we'll know more after free agency whether any of these teams solve their quarterback problem.
Yeah, I didn't think about Carolina in that way. So you think Carolina can make a move? Let me ask you this. If the Dolphins really love Tua and feel like they have to move up and they trade and the Skins trade their 2, see, the thing with the Skins is if they really like Chase Young, are they going to risk going beyond the Giants? And if the Giants take Chase Young, which I think they would, then you're going against Chase.
They wouldn't get past Detroit. So
you're saying that they would just stay there at 3. Okay, I got you.
Well, again, the thing what we have right now, man, it's we have a couple of months here of people talking about what they don't know about. Okay, so to me, I'm just going to. I know. So I'm just going to tell you what I would do. Okay, if I'm the Redskins, I take Chase Young. I don't move back. I think he's that good of a football player. Kerrigan, it'll be interesting what they do with him. Production fell off. Great player in the history of the team. But the arrow is not pointing up. I'd let him play the year and then make a decision. I'm not sold on him as a defensive end in the 43 to play the run. I definitely take Young, and even if you sign Kerrigan to the extension, that's an ownership decision to me. And it's certainly it's part coaching, but the owner has to decide, will I pay the money for a player that will not finish his contract? I mean, that's where the owner comes involved. And there's no right or wrong answer to that. So you end up with 3 defensive ends, and you got to see if Sweat can do it. Sweat will play better with somebody pressing him.
Yeah. So you think there's no deal good enough to convince Rivera to move out of 2 because Chase Young's that good?
Oh, I don't know that. Okay? I'm not going to speculate on what Ron Rivera says. If I'm sitting there, I've got to have it's going to start with a 1 next year by a team that I feel absolutely will be in the top 10. That's going to be the starting point. And I'm not going to move out of the top 10, okay? So that's my starting point of thinking about it. At the end of the day, I take Young, though.
Talking to Charley Casserly, former Washington Redskins and Houston Texans GM, now at the NFL Network. And you were on the NFL Network talking about the quarterbacks who are going to be drafted high, Joe Burrow and Tua. How do you compare those two?
Take either one and be happy. That's the first thing. Okay, seriously. Now, again, we have to assume that Tua's physical would be okay and you're okay. Now, the report I have on him going into the physicals was everything was good. And it appeared that the blood flow was fine. It wasn't a Bo Jackson injury where the blood flow got interrupted and the career is over. He's a fast healer, not a minimum risk is what I was told. Okay, now that's before everybody saw the guy. Two different quarterbacks. They're just different in this sense, but they both check out very good. Burrow in the LSU offense is more of a shorter offense, short throws, take your deep shots. Tua, more of a downfield offense, then come back underneath. So it's different offenses. Tua, I think you'd like him to see him in a Shanahan-type offense where you've got the bootlegs involved in the play action to get him out of the pocket because of the height. But the guy, he can throw from the pocket. When I graded Russell Wilson in college, Russell Wilson could win from the pocket. And then when I saw his height, I go, oh, my God, this guy's 5'10". You can't take him in the first round. Hey, he's the best quarterback in football, maybe. So that's Tua. Burrow, you only got the 1 year on him, really, where he's had the one production. Play with a great team. When you watch him, a lot of times he doesn't get hit. But he does have mobility. And a guy who knows Brady and knows him said this guy's Brady when it comes to preparation. Now, that's about the highest level you could recommend a guy right now. So I have Tua ahead, Tua 1, Burrow 2, but clearly these guys are top players. When you compare these guys to the guys that have been taken here, both of them are better than Wentz coming out. He went 2. They're better than Goff, okay?
Yeah.
Better than Daniel Jones. So, I mean, that's kind of how I look at the guys, both of them.
Do you think it's possible that Detroit says Tua's too good and we can't pass on him and we have to move on from Stafford?
I don't see that based on what you hear coming out of there. And again, you could say one thing and do another. I get all that. But, Stafford played really well last year. And I think you ride Stafford right now. That's what I would do, and I think that's what they're going to do.
All right, what about Herbert? Do you like Herbert? Who do you compare him to?
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Josh Allen of Buffalo. But it's not the comparison is inconsistency because they're different. I think Herbert saw the field better and was more accurate, but still there's an inconsistency with Herbert, inaccuracy in decision-making. Anticipation is interesting because he'll hold the ball and throw it when the guy gets open. That's not going to work in the NFL most of the time. But when I asked the Oregon about it, they said he was taught that. He was never taught to anticipate. He was taught to wait till the guy's open because his arm is big enough to get it there. But I've seen anticipation from him, but it's not consistent. So the inconsistency there scares me a little bit. I think he needs to sit a year, and I'm not sure that if you take him, you're betting that he gets better.
By the way, getting back to Tua, I heard Peter King talking about this yesterday. Apparently Tua spent 14 hours with team doctors yesterday.
Wow.
Well, it's 32 doctors.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
that's a lot of talking about your hip.
Yeah, I know, but it's understandable.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So, yeah.
Did you care at all when you were the GM of both the Texans and the Redskins about hand size?
Not to eliminate a quarterback. If you like him, you'll always find a guy who's got the hand size that equals it. That's the way I look at it. So you note it, but at the end of the day, did it make a difference? No.